Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Channeling Erik. I am Michelle, and we're here with the lovely, wonderful, and my beautiful soul sister, Denise Ramon, and of course with Erik. And we're here for part two of the Richie Valens interview. So if you guys did not check out part one, it's up. Check it out. If you don't know who Richie Valens is, I will say it real quickly for those that may not have heard it in part one. Richie Valens was an American guitarist, singer, and songwriter, rock and roll pioneer, and forefather of the Chicano rock movement. Valens had several hits. I won't go through the whole thing because you can hear it in number one, but Richie Valens passed away at age 17 before his 18th birthday in a plane accident that also claimed Buddy Holly, JP the Big Bopper Richardson, as well as pilot Roger Peterson. So Richie, he came through and gave us some really great answers. He's very sweet. I can feel his energy just a buzzing right now with us. And Erik has graciously made him so comfortable in our green room here as he sits and chats with us. So we're going to continue with the questions where we left off. And so we're going to ask you a little bit, Richie, and thank you for coming back, although we know you never left. So we're going to ask you your relationship with Donna. So it was short, but I feel like it was intense. And did you learn anything? Is there anything that stands out of what you learned from your relationship with her?
He says, yes. And he says, thank you for asking about her, he says, because she was, I just have chills. She's very important part of my life because she truly loved me, he said, but held me accountable for my behavior, his actions, because I don't feel like he was very considerate of where people like her feelings or other people's feelings. And a lot of that had to do with age is what Erik and him are showing me. But she always encouraged me to follow my dreams because he confided in her in his dreams, maybe not 100%, but a good portion. She really knew things. And he says we argued a lot, but it's because she pushed me out of my comfort zones all the time, and I didn't know how to facilitate that type of emotions and that so it'd come out in an anger way or whatever, because that's all he learned or saw or knew. He didn't know how to, he didn't learn. So he says, he says the thing was to he really got to, not that he's discounting his family at all, but he really got to feel love on a whole nother level, he said. And he really knew that when he was in the plane. He really, really, really knew that, he said. And he I feel like he was very present in her life after his passing to help her along. And I feel like she knew he was very present and around. And I don't feel like she shared it with too many people, because then it gets exploited and I want to say he's here or whatever. But I feel like he was very much in her life after his passing to help her with all of this.
He was just saying too that she worked very hard to move on from that, from his passing, and he
feel
was
a lot of
very
sadness.
protective.
I feel a lot of is what he's showing me. He helped to sponge up a lot of the sadness is what I
Mm.
feel from
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Did so have you incarnated again in linear terms?
Has Richie incarnated? He says no, but there are essence of him in other lifetimes, in other
Yes.
places, is what he says.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about with Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper? Um, did you have other lifetimes on Earth with them, or maybe not on Earth?
Well, it's funny you said that because I got the bopper, as you say. I see him on a spacecraft ship,
Hmm.
and I feel like they have been in other territories other than Earth together. Um, they're very what do you call it? Their souls feel very light and airy,
Hmm. Hmm.
and but they've been here many times. And have they been together here? He said yes, but kind of like indirectly a lot of
Yeah.
times. Um, I feel like they've been friends. They haven't been husband, wife, brother, sister, any of
Yeah.
that together, is what he's saying, because people want to know that. But yes, they have mingled with each other in previous lifetimes here. But I also get in the
Yeah.
galactic family, is what I get.
That's why I said maybe off Earth because I could already I was already getting all
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
interesting. Um, so when you well, I'm gonna circle back to Donna for a second. Two questions. One, um, did you plan on marrying Donna? Did you feel like you would?
He said yes. He
Yeah,
really did. He
yeah,
said yes. He had dreams to marry her and have her travel with him, and to have kids, the all American dream, he says.
yes,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
his goal was to be able to provide for her the way that he wished his mother would have been able to been provided for. I don't know why I
yes,
keep getting chills with him.
yes,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
but he said yes. He he absolutely loved her, and there's something about the color yellow around her, is what he has around her, is the color yellow. And I don't know if she wore a yellow dress or whatever, but he showed me yellow. He said
mm,
absolutely, yeah. um, he wanted to marry her. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
he was going
mm-hmm,
to. I feel like it was going to have to take a few conversations, maybe, I guess, with her parents, given the time frame of when that was going on.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I feel like that would have had to there would have had to been some persuading with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like from what Erik is saying, they would have eloped if
I
her
just
parents.
got that. I just heard that. They
Yeah,
would have, yes. Yeah, this is that just, everybody that does this kind of work kind of know how fun this can be when we have a um when we're channeling in this way, because it's a lot of fun to have it vibrate through the both of us at the same time,
yeah,
because it comes in like it's almost Denise, how would you explain it? Like we're in the same conversation with slightly different octaves, so it all comes through. And
yeah.
yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
It is fun. It is fun.
Yeah,
And I'm wondering, is Donna on the other side?
I'm not sure. I don't know much about Donna.
I'm not either, but I feel like he connects with the higher self, and so I can't tell if she's there or here.
Yeah, or she could. I will say this because I'm right with you. I don't get a direct connection in spirit, but here's the other thing: is a lot of times when we feel somebody and we aren't sure if they're actually in spirit or not. Yes, we do connect with the higher self, but the other thing also is, you know, people can be in transitionary spaces, like if they're maybe have dementia or have some like anything going on like
Yes.
that. So it could
Yes.
be that, because I don't get a real hard answer, yes, she's here, or yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I don't
But
either. So.
so there's something there with that. Um, what about when it comes to discrimination with your music,
Mhm.
being famous, being Latino, at that time in our culture, in the 50s, what did that mean? Did you experience discrimination? What did that mean to you to represent your culture? Because you really did make a big mark in music for your culture and bring it forward.
Yeah. Well, he said, of course, he experienced discrimination
Hmm.
his whole life. He's showing me was from being in the stores and schools and everywhere. And I feel like that is part of why they would have had to elope also, because I don't feel like she was Latino. And um, he said, of course. And he says, so what it felt like, he said, to represent my community, he says it was a little intimidating. He says, but it feels more scary. It felt more scary because he was the voice for everybody. And so if people didn't like him, then he felt like a responsibility that he let
Mm.
down his community.
Hmm.
But and this is what I feel like some of his family was afraid of for him, the racism, the backlash because he's Latino. But he says this helped with the breakthrough in this music, and to like, we can sing, we do have rhythm. Is his death really made this even more popular for him.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, for the community, and it really pushed the energy to where it's like, yes, more people wanted to do this. And because of how big his music got. But he said, yes, there was discrimination. And I felt like this is one of the reasons why it was a last minute kind of decision, him getting on the plane, because I don't feel like, he wasn't the first choice to be on the plane.
Hmm.
And I feel like some of it had to do with his color, his being Latino.
Interesting. Yeah. Um, okay, well, I'm going to switch gears here just a little bit because I want to ask you, do you entertain in heaven?
You know, he says we do everything over here
Hmm.
except eat cheeseburgers. That's what he says.
Darn, that was the one thing I wanted to make sure that you could do. Darn it.
I know, but he said yes, and it's like he says it's a continuous, like, of he shows me like the continuous of creating frequencies for other people to connect to, in that. And it's like I'm going to try my best to make it
Hmm.
make sense, but it's like he continues to make notes or frequencies
Hmm.
that other souls catch a ride on, that bring that down to this
Yes.
planet or other areas,
Yeah.
for healing and for joy and
Yes.
for to break open awareness. And it's, yes, he says, yes, they entertain. Do they sit around and do a jam session? Not in the way that people do in the garage or in the studio or anything,
Yeah.
but he does say some of them do collaborate together, and they do, and to make music and stuff. And it doesn't stop just because we're not in human form. but I feel like that essence of who he integrated to here, he brings some of that flow that comes in there to help,
Yes.
because he's saying that music is so healing on so
Hmm.
many levels because
Hmm.
of the frequency, because we are able to allow that to flow through us without
Hmm.
resistance.
Hmm.
He's saying that's the one thing we don't resist on is music. We don't go, oh no, I can't listen to that. He says we allow the flow to continue within us.
Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting because that's kind of goes into this next question, which is what does music look like in the spirit realm? And we talked to it that a bit when he was bringing up the universe and
Yes.
everything being in the universe. So, is there anything you wanted to expand, Richie, with that? Because what you just explained makes so much sense to me with kind of everybody riding on these vibrational waves. Because I feel that you are, that's part of what your soul has always done is create harmonics.
And that's what he's showing me. It's like, it's not a paper, but it's like in the wind, I guess, and he's writing this, creating along
Yeah,
with others. Everybody gets to go in there and write
yeah, yeah.
whenever, and it all just flows together. And when I say the air, it's like the ether worlds or whatever it is that he's showing me, and how everybody who is tuned in to do that, they're able to see where their notes are writing, and
Mm-hmm.
it feels very sacred geometry type
Mm-hmm.
stuff that's
Mm-hmm.
going on in there, and they just know where to join in. It's just wild how he's
It,
showing me.
would
Yeah.
you say, Denise, like the best way to describe seeing vibration? Because as you're describing what he's showing you, I'm getting all of these little visuals of color. And when I see vibration, it almost looks like moving molecules. It's like
He,
the air dances with a slight shade of a color, right?
yes,
Does that make
yes,
sense?
yes, it does, because every
Yeah.
color has its own frequency.
Yes. 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 And that movement and they do sometimes it shapes and it's like all of the above. It's not just one thing. It's this
Right,
movement. And we may
right.
not see the whole of something else. It's however we're perceiving it. But for them, it's a whole orchestra. It's everything. It's all this movement.
Eric says they see it all.
Yes.
They
Yes.
see it all. Mhm.
And so here's a big one. Richie, did you meet God? Did you meet Source? And what was that like for you?
He's well, when you say that, did he meet Source? He's like, of course, and he's shown me a big bright light,
Yeah.
and it's not like just a light bulb. It's just this brightness, this light that's just. He says it's almost like this bright light, and you meet, and you don't question nothing because everything is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like the way he shows me, it's like all confusion, uncertainty, questions have all just instantly been answered. You don't, you just know. He
Yeah.
says, you just know.
You just know.
And you don't go, what was that? Because you just know.
Mm-hmm.
So, did he meet the figure, the body, the humanness of what we call God? He says, this was the beauty of it, is there's no one person. He says we're all, and he says, and it sounds cliche, but we're all um, from this amazing crystal like energy.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's just, it ties up everything. You just know. You just know.
You just know. So, being in spirit, and when you look back at your life on earth and everything that you experienced, was there any, or was there a moment, is there a moment that you look at anything on earth and say, yeah, I really miss that? I really miss that.
He says yes. There are some things because, um, and he's telling me, Erik has even told me before, what Erik misses is the physicalness. And
Mm-hmm.
I've told Erik, which is funny because that's what we miss about all of you is the physicalness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so does he miss? He says he can, and it's a different miss. It's like, it's, it's like he can see how, it's like he, let's say he goes with Donna, he missed out on that wedding and the children and the
Mm-hmm.
family and doing all that. So what he's doing is he's seen how important that was to him in this life that we're talking about, him as
Mm-hmm.
Richie.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets to cultivate that and learn more about that. So when it is time for him to incarnate again, not that he did a bad job, but he knows how to, he doesn't have to take too many wrong turns to get that
Yeah.
to obtain. He
Right.
knows how to do that. So this is what he's doing. He's like seeing, and does he miss, he says if anything he missed hanging out with his friends, and doing and just sitting around and laughing. And he also missed being able to be there for he was very close to his mom, he's showing me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
very, and he missed that. But when I say he missed that, he doesn't miss it on the same level we miss things,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because as he's missing these things, he's also gaining, he's using my terminology, tools on how to utilize that in a more efficient, better way when it comes in to incarnate.
Right. There's like an appreciation to
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
rather than the sense of longing or missing. It's more of an appreciation for it, to be able to grab all the details, learn all the details from it that will again be used to go forth in another life.
yeah. And then he also uses that to help filter in so that the people who are missing these things about him, how they can grab onto that frequency and
Right.
start utilizing that,
Right.
if they choose to grab onto it and see it.
Right. Well, I'm going to ask you one last thing, and this is a kind of a general message, but do you have anything that you would like to say to everyone, just kind of where we are in the world right now, and also to anyone that's following, wanting to be in the music industry, wanting to break out on their own? There's so many amazing artists that are doing a great job with what we have available to us now to bring themselves right out into the world. So any advice, guidance for any of us in that?
Well, he says, if you're wanting to break out into the music industry or any type of entertainment industry, he said, it's because you have a calling for it. And he says, and the reason why you have a calling is because it's meant to be materialized. If you choose to do that, he's telling me that we are so fortunate now. The people are so fortunate now and today because we have so many um, applications, uh, things, social media and stuff like that to put yourself out there. It wasn't like it was back when he was, you had to be in the right place at the right time and getting all this exposure. And so he says, just keep putting yourself out there. The one thing he shows me is you're going to have to put on 20 coats to thicken that skin
Mm,
because everybody, 90% of the people are going to put you down, but what you focus on is the 10%. And just keep doing that, and you have to be consistent, and he's showing me use the social media that's out there, and don't anytime you're out and the conversation can go in that direction, let people know what you do. And he says, number one, though, believe in yourself.
yes.
Just know that the reason why you have this strong desire to do this is because it's in your energetic field and it's meant for you to use if you want to. He says it's all a choice. And if you choose not to, he says that's okay. But just know it's there. And he says, it's not that it's hard, um, and it's not that it's supposed to be hard to get yourself out there. Why it's hard is because you're working through all your limitations. And once you work through your limitations, the doors just fly open.
Yes.
So he says, change your wording on that part. And what was the other part of the question?
Well, you
Oh,
were
with
just,
what's going on around
yeah.
here.
Hmm.
He says, these are terrible times, as people want to label it as that. But he's telling me this is temporary. And this is what he kept saying throughout the session to me. This is all temporary. And I guess this is why, because you're going to ask this question. He says, this is temporary, and remind yourself of that. He goes, because it is temporary. Everything is temporary. And he says, stay out of the things that don't bring you joy.
Yes. That's some really good and simple advice.
It really is, yeah.
It
And
really is.
when he said that, I'm like, that came from you. And he's like, that he feels very strong and in his energy right now. He's really showing me how strong and how rooted he is into to things. He's a very strong energy, very, very wise.
Yes. And thank you, Richie, because I can feel with the conversation of music and everything, and with what you're bringing forth, everybody that is watching and listening is all getting a piece of that healing and that energy that you're bringing forth, because I can feel it, Denise. I know you can feel it. And I hope everybody that is listening can feel it. And even though if you can't feel it, just know that it does touch you. It does. The energy does reach you, and our souls know what to do with it. And we're all part of this big symphony that goes on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He thanks you. He thanks you for this. He thanks you for this. And he thanks you for bringing the voice to him, that he can that he has a voice. He really enjoys this.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Denise. You did an awesome job being his voice. And thank
Thank
you,
you.
Erik. So, everybody, please check Denise out. You will see her information all down below in the box. You will see my information there. And of course, thank you, Erik. We love you. And Lisa, we love you. Thank you to the CE community. Denise and I love
Absolutely.
you very much and appreciate each and every one of you for showing up
So,
every
yeah.
day for us all in love. So we send you off for another wonderful day. We thank you for being here, and we will catch you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.